guys, how's it going? So in today's video, I want to update you on two different videos that we put out in July. The first one was 10 flowers that you can plant middle of the season and still expect to see some color by the end of it. And the second video was my fall crop video. So right here, right there, you can see some of the flowers I planted. These have been in the ground from seed for 43 days. And the fall crops right here I planted 28 days ago. So I thought it would just be a good time to just pop out here. They're kind of like middle of their growth cycle right now. We're starting to see a little bit of color on the flowers. There's a couple crops that I kind of flopped at, and I'll kind of explain what I think happened there. It's an incredibly smoky day out here. There's a huge fire. I know there's fires everywhere right now, but there's a huge one about 70 miles away from us, and I think it's like a 30,000 acre fire. We looked up the update earlier on today. 20% contained. Anyway, the air quality is really poor, so we're trying to not do very much out here, just kind of bare minimum of keeping things watered and such. And I just thought I would pop out here and give you a quick tour and then head back inside. So the first 2.5 rows, so this row all the way up to obelisk there, are flowers. And so I'll just go crop by crop and just give you an update on how they're doing. So 2 of the flower crops I planted were a total fail, and this is the first one right here. What a way to start out this tour, huh? These are peach nasturtiums. I got a grand total of 7 nasturtiums up out of this whole area, and they are getting way too much water. So something I learned, I don't think that they need as much water as the rest of the stuff out here. I mean, it's clear. They look waterlogged. The leaves are yellow and they're struggling. But I think my #1 problem was that I over-soaked the seeds. So I set them out to soak on one day, meaning to plant them the next morning. I didn't get around to it, so they sat in the water for that whole rest of that day, into the next part of the day. So they were in water for, I want to say like 36 plus hours. They were really squishy when I put them in the ground, and I thought, this probably isn't gonna happen. So that was user error on my part, and I kind of knew it was gonna happen. I have other nasturtiums I started from seed that are gorgeous. See that? Looking much better up here. All of these are from seed as well, but I think I did it right with these seeds. Anyway, moving on from those, we've got some Clark's Heavenly Blue Morning Glory. And of course, Morning Glory grows super quickly, but given the amount of heat we've had, I think that's why I have so much growth so fast on these things. But they were the first thing that sprouted, and they have just almost filled. This is the Titan pea tunnel. I really like it. I like its slender nature. It gives me a lot of vertical growing space without taking up a lot of room. No blooms yet, but beautiful leaves. The next crop here are bachelor buttons. And there are just a bunch of different varieties here. And I'm actually not sure, I don't think I planted them in alphabetical order, but I've got 4 different varieties in this section. Classic, Romantic, Fantastic, and Black Magic. So far, they're looking really good in terms of growth. Some of them are starting to bud up a little bit. See those? Looking great. We've got a little bit of color. Oh, I was so excited. I could see this from our lane, which is way over there. I thought, oh, there's a bloom out there. I have to go check it out. So this just happened in the last couple of days. And I did notice there was another one that opened up right here. Look at how beautiful that is. I got all the bachelor button seeds except for Black Magic from Floret Flower. That's so pretty. So I expect we'll start seeing quite a bit of color in the next little bit. And right now we're mid-August, so we still have into October to enjoy these things most years. Unless we have a really weird fall, which you never know what's gonna happen. But I mean, the fact that we're starting to see flowers now means that we will have quite a long time to cut and enjoy these, which is awesome. Next crop are the Mexican sunflowers. Look at those. First time ever growing these. Amazing vertical growth. I did not thin these out, and I don't know if I'm gonna regret that. There are some shorter ones in there, some real tall ones. Look at this one right here. But I think we'll start seeing, hopefully, some flowers very soon. Ooh, they're kind of soft. And now you get to see my second fail. And that would be the almost non-existent amaranth that I planted along this fence line. I have one lone amaranth down there. So here's the deal with this one. I think 2 things. First off, Amaranth seed does not like to be covered in order to germinate. It needs light. So when you plant them out here when it's 100 degrees, I think it was close to 100 or right at 100 when I planted the seeds out here, that's really hard to keep your seed moist enough when it's not underneath soil in order to germinate. So it could be a case where I got them wet, you know, the seed coat started to open, and then the seed was allowed to dry out, because I can't micromanage every single crop. I wish I could. I used to be able to, but now we've got stuff going everywhere that sometimes things like this, you just learn from it and think, you know what, maybe I just need to start those earlier on when it's not so hot and just have a one crop out of these. The other thing that could have happened is I did turn on the drip for this area in order to saturate what I need to be saturated out here. The water did puddle quite a bit, and so the seeds could have floated away. But there is one that's looking pretty good. Let's go take a look. A nice robust amaranth. I'm happy with it. At least we got something, and it's beautiful. Look at that. So pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go back to start on the second row. All right, this row is impressive. First batch of flowers up here are the dwarf marigolds. Look at how beautiful these are. I'm thinking we're gonna see flowers very soon because we got buds. So those are great. Next crop are polar bear zinnias. 43 days in the ground from seed, and they're blooming. Aren't those just, oh, they're so pretty. The next variety of zinnia was Purple Prince, I believe. Bright pink. And I love the way they look before they open. Isn't that so interesting looking? The structure and kind of the black margin around those sepals. Zinnias are just all around like one of the easiest, best cut flowers to grow, I think. Next are the sun gold and sunspot sunflowers, which are amazing. These did not get thinned either, so they're very thick, but we're just gonna roll with it. I kind of like to see things looking thick out here, but these, look at this. You guys, there's just so much excitement in this space. I'm so thrilled with it. And this is kind of a true testament of how fast things will grow, so much faster when you plant them when it's hot out already, because they germinate quick and then they just take off, as opposed to planting them when things are cooler in the earlier part of the summer or late spring. And the last half row of flowers, first part we've got Calendula right here. I can't remember what mix this is. Flashback mix maybe? Yeah, I just ordered more of this. We've got some beautiful color. Looks like I have a little patchiness right there, but not bad. Tons of buds. Then we've got cosmos, which have been interesting. So we've got a variety up there. It has a very different looking leaf than the traditional cosmos. And I have several varieties here. Tango, Daydream, Xanthos, Apricot Lemonade, and Rubenza. I have no idea which one's which. I really need to up my ID game next year. I always just figure, well, I'll be able to tell once they start to bloom. But I'm seeing that these are not tolerating quite as much water, or they're not tolerating the amount of water that they're getting in this area, at least this variety right here. Like, some of them look really good, and these are struggling a bit. I still think we'll get flowers from them though, and these are looking especially amazing. Cannot wait to see what color these are. Oh, there's a weed. Got it. But look at this. Isn't that amazing? So many buds. And then there's another variety tucked in right behind, it's shorter. And then the last flower are more of the Clark's Heavenly Blue Morning Glories that are just doing great and climbing up the obelisk just wonderfully. So overall, pretty great luck with the flowers. The two that aren't doing as well, I think that I was the problem there. So I learned from the two things that I did with those two crops, the nasturtiums and the amaranth, how to do it better. The nasturtiums was a complete, I shouldn't have planted those seeds. When I got them out of the little water, I had them in a ramekin in water. When I got them out and felt the consistency of them, I should have just thought, nope, we're not gonna plant these today. And the amaranth, I've actually never planted from seed, and so it was just a really good learning experience for me. However, I do think if you could get them to take, even in the middle part of July, you'll still have beautiful flowers. So I'm excited to see what that one, wherever it's at, right there, does. For vegetables, we have 4 and then a half row. So the first chunk right up here I probably shouldn't call it a chunk, right? Block, whatever. The first block is sweetness corn. So this is a 68-day corn, and I figured if I got it planted mid-July, I would be able to pick corn mid to late September. Wonderful growth, I mean 28 days in the ground, and it's just beautiful, and it's gone through some pretty bad windstorms, so I'm thinking it's gonna make it. Next up, we'll just carry on with the first row. I planted 3 varieties of peas, one of which I think I had the seed packet for, I don't even remember. I mean, I might have had it for, I don't know, 8-10 years. Progress number 9 peas, I had 3 plants come up. 1, 2, 3 in this whole row, as opposed to the early gray sugar and the Oregon sugar pod, which I got fresh out of the bulk bins down at the garden center. A little bit of a difference there. I am gonna need to figure out some kind of support system. I was thinking about putting up some stakes and just kind of rigging up something to get these a little bit of something to lean on, because once they put on a little more growth, they'll need a little bit of support. And then for the back half of this second row, right after the corn, there are golden beets right here, which are really vibrant green, just emerald green leaves. And the next section are bull's blood beets. And just now I'm noticing that they may have a little bit of leaf miner action going on. So see that? Little worms that get in there and just roll around inside the leaves and kind of make these pockets. Sometimes I can find a leaf miner inside, like if you're careful and kind of open them up. I don't feel anything in there though. Let me see if I can find one. No, oh, maybe. Well, I'm having a hard time finding an actual leaf miner, but since I saw a little bit of damage, I will probably bring out some of my Captain Jacks, the dead bug, and get these sprayed to ward off any future damage. And then the rest of this row, as well as this right here, they're identically planted with beans. The bulk of which are jade beans, which are a bush bean, super wonderful and tender. The only difference is just along the base of this Titan A-frame trellis, I planted Kentucky Wonder pole beans, so that we'd have some that would climb up and cover this. And they are starting to form, look, you can see, they're starting to form some upward growth here. One of them has attached. Oh, a whole bunch of them have attached on that side. That's exciting. And then following the beans on that third row, we've got some cilantro. Looking pretty good. A tiny bit of patchiness, but not bad. So sweet Italian basil. Again, a tiny bit of patchiness, but honestly, these plants get so big. I'll probably pop a few plants out right here and pop them in there and do the same. Maybe pop a few out here and pop some there. And those will completely fill up this whole section. So I'm not worried about that. I think I didn't plant this section of carrots. It's just too odd that I have carrots coming up in this whole entire area except nothing right here. I don't know. Especially since this is the same variety. These are Nantes carrots right here. So Nantes, no Nantes. And then I've just got a few other varieties of carrots that are coming up pretty good, actually. There are some that are still kind of small, even though some of them are big, but I think they'll fill in. Fourth row here, I planted 12 cucumber vines. I think, let's see, maybe 3 of them didn't come up. So I have 9 total, which I think is pretty good because, I mean, that's a lot of cucumbers. So I originally planted 4 pickling cucumbers, 3 of which came up. So this is pickling, nothing there, and then a pickling there. The next 4 were Suyao longs, and 2 of those came up. Kind of doesn't surprise me. My seeds were kind of old, but I didn't think they were that old. I don't know. That's okay. So there's a Suyao and a Suyao. And the last 4 are Telegraph, which are a type of English cucumber. Super excited about these. So the really long, nice, straight cucumbers, and all 4 of those came up. And that kind of brings us to the end of the vegetables. We have the Morning Glory here, and then we've got 3 zucchini plants. Looking robust. I even think I saw where we've got some blooms forming in there. They're looking very healthy. And then in the last part, we have our parsley. Doesn't that just look so fresh and beautiful? I love it. And here's a quick look at everything else going on. Tomatoes are wild, mangy messes again, but they actually have a ton of tomatoes. I see a lot of green ones from my view right here, but there's a lot of red ones in there too. The pumpkin patch is looking amazing. I had one section kind of get yellow on me, so I'm just gonna clip those leaves out. Other than that, super thick. They are super full of fruit. I can't even get in there anymore. You can see one dangling off the obelisk in there. And we just harvested 25 watermelons with more to come. The front is looking beautiful, full of color. I've been out here cutting and cutting and cutting, and they just keep producing, which is awesome. The sunflowers are also coming along. Let me give you another view. Oh, just look at that. Look at the snapdragons and the zinnias and the corn. This is particularly beautiful right now. We've got some tall variety. This was a no-name variety that I gathered seed from last year. Huge, tall, and beautiful. Next year, I might be a little bit more mindful of like how I plant tall and short and such. I honestly don't remember these getting that tall last year. Oh well. These are beautiful. We've got some classics blooming back there. There's Moulin Rouge, there's Red Hedge. There's some of the Red Hedge right in there, and we're just getting more and more color every single day. I think it's so pretty. And last but not least are the Dahlias, which just got their first application of fertilizer. So they may have grown or put on a little bit more vertical growth had I been more on it with fertilizer, but it just has not been one of those years out here. It's just kind of like toss the stuff out here, see how it does. They're still pretty short, but we are getting some color and they look healthy, so I can't ask for anything else. So here's a quick overview of Dahlias. Tons of buds out there. So I'm sure we'll have a full-blown bloom tour here in not too long. But we've got a few beauties coming up here. This one's called Brown Sugar. I think it's got a beautiful form. A few more with some beautiful color. It's mostly just the smaller ones I'm seeing that are opening up right now. Oh, that one's trying to open up its petals on this side. This is one called Linda's Baby. That's pretty. So that's gonna pretty much do it for this tour. Just wanted to make sure that you guys saw how things were doing kind of midway. I kind of consider this a midway point because it's about middle of the road between when I planted all the seeds and when we will be done with them at the end of the season. So it's supposed to still be pretty warm, so they should still keep growing really quickly. So I should see some more color, in which case I'll get out here and do another tour. But I just can't, I don't know, I keep saying how thankful I am for how everything's doing out here, and I truly am. I never imagined just throwing stuff out here, just with the way everything looked. I mean, the soil quality not really amending very well. I just didn't know what to expect, and it was a ton of effort when this spring was a little bit weird for me, and so it has paid off so big time. I mean, it's just been an amazing learning opportunity for me, and I think we will do so much better in future years. I mean, it's like that all the time. We learn so much every year. I do, and then we figure out how to get things on a schedule better, or if I should plant things 2 weeks prior or 2 weeks after, or those sorts of things. So I still do have a few more fall crops to plant, like greens and radishes. Let's see, I picked up kale, spinach, lettuce, radishes. I think I'm missing something, but I was waiting for those really quick crops. I was waiting for the weather to cool off a little bit, so I still think we have a couple weeks yet until I'll plant those. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.